If you're anything like me, you're worrying that deletion is often a much harder operation than insertion. And we know that for our binary search trees before, deletion took more work than doing an insertion. But it turns out that for an AVL tree, doing deletion can be relatively simple. We do still have to do some actual deletion operation. We'll start from the one that we used in the naive binary search tree, where for leaves it was simple. For nodes that only had one child, we shifted that child up. And for nodes that had both children, we had to find the in-order successor. So we're able, though, to then rebalance, working from the location of the node that was actually removed up to the root. Remembering that we will have to do some swapping in our naive binary search tree deletion when we find in-order successors and things. But we're able to start from the location of the node that was removed and step up to the root because the in-order successors will always come from an area local to the node that was being removed. So we will have done some possible damage to the balance of the binary search tree when we remove. And in particular, we might do some extra damage by moving those in-order successors around. But it'll be local to the node that we removed. It will be under its subtree anyway. So whenever a node is unbalanced, as we look from the location where the node was removed and step on upwards toward the root, we perform whatever single or double rotation is needed to restore the balance at that node. Then we keep going upwards toward the root, checking for unbalanced nodes and rotating to rebalance them all the way up. And you may start to recognize that the steps for this will be potentially log n times that we have to step up, rebalance, step up, rebalance. We have to repeat all the way up to the root, however, unlike insertion, where insertion we stopped at the lowest unbalanced node and we did only one rotation. It could have been a single rotation or a double rotation, but we only had to make that one type of change, handle that one type of imbalance. We should stop and think about why deletion needs this more complicated operation of possibly rebalancing at every node from your site of deletion up to the root. We think about what rotations do. They reduce the height of the tree. And when we're adding, reducing the height is great because we've changed the balance by adding to one side, and therefore reducing the height will adjust for that addition of height that we may have made when we inserted. But deletion reduces the height, and then we might reduce the height further under some higher up node in a way that messes up its balance too. So in an insertion, the only kind of imbalance that was created was a longer height under a particular node, and reducing height will solve that problem. In deletion, we've reduced the height a little bit already, and we may reduce the height of some higher up parent node even more and cause further imbalance problems. We also want to probably be careful because of some of those moving of in-order successors and things too, but in particular, this issue of reducing height is the problem. But as I pointed out, at most we have to do log n rotations. We might have to rotate every single node from the site of deletion all the way up to the root, but each of those rotations is O of 1. It's a constant operation. So it's still log n steps potentially, and it's still O of 1 operations being done there. So our deletion operation is still O of log n. Overall, our operations for an AVL tree, the key ideas here are that we get the BST behavior we wanted find as log n. No imbalanced trees that are actually a linked list and just look really silly. Find will always be in that range of log n. It won't be a perfect log n. Sometimes we'll have a little higher or shorter branches than a perfectly balanced tree, but it will be a log n operation. Likewise, insertion is a log n operation. It's got a little more work to it in terms of that one rebalance, but that's an O of 1 operation. So again, it's in the category of log n. And delete is a little heftier of a log n, but still a log n. So we get this nice behavior. We get a faster insertion and deletion than a sorted array would give us, and we get the log n find that a sorted array could give us with binary search. So we get the benefits without the costs. We've got to love this situation. And the space required for an AVL tree is no bigger than the array that we might have used or the naive binary search tree in terms of its order. It's O of n. The only extra thing we stored was at every node we stored the height of that node. And that's not going to increase our category of size. And we'll move on in the future into some algorithms and some designs that can do even better than this. But for now, we've got a victory to celebrate. We've gotten binary search behavior from a tree that we keep balanced, and that keeping it balanced from insertion and deletion is still only log n.